What is going on, everyone? I believe I'm live. Another office hours here for Huddle GG. If you guys have any questions, make sure you get them in the Discord. I just want to do check to make sure that you guys can hear me. Everything's good. I'm live on Twitch, also on YouTube. Come check us out. I will take questions from the Discord first, and then we'll go ahead, and if there's not enough questions there, we'll go ahead to the other platforms. Just letting everybody know what the format is. The format's always going to be anyone that is a subscriber to our Huddle GG website is going to have the opportunity to get their answers to their questions first, and then from there, what we'll do is open it up if there aren't any in the queue type deal. So let me know if you guys hear me okay. We're in good shape, depending on what you're watching. Let me see here. Just trying to see if I can get the YouTube up real quick. Yep, let me open this up. You get those questions as well. Alrighty, so it looks like I got everything up. Hopefully you guys can hear. All right, so Tom N has the first question of the day. He's asking, hey man, looking for some tips on user movement, especially usering on defense. Do you sprint? Do you have any tips on turning your players, etc.? That's really gonna, I'll kind of get into this a little bit. So depending on what player you're using, obviously that's going to help your user skills. A lot of times people are going to be putting safeties into the linebacker positions because of the fact that they are a little bit faster, a little bit higher agility. Change of direction is definitely something that will help you. For the most part, this year is much less of an opportunity to cover ground, right? So we can go ahead and take a look at some stuff here, just to kind of show you. Let's just go ahead and just pick, it doesn't really matter what play I pick, right? Here, and say we go into here, and I'm gonna put one of these guys as a linebacker, and the other guy will be as a safety, right? So we'll just go into some type of play here. Now, with these players, what you can see when you go lateral, in the past we could go back like this and try to, like if I'm sprinting and I'm trying to go back, it's a lot different right now. It's different when the ball is not hiked. So I'll just go ahead and show you. See how I can turn like this? You don't see how it's better to be in loops than it is on sharp angles. I think that's probably the best thing that I can do to help you out with this is if you kind of try to go, you're going here and then you try to go sharp angle left, right, and then come back. See how he can basically stop, plant his feet and go. If you can stay yourself in a little bit of a loop like this, you're going to see here that you're going to have a lot better opportunity to get your guy in the direction that you want. A lot of people do a loop where they start close like this and they loop around like this, right? And just because you're not taking sharp 45-degree angles, so it's going to help you. But for the most part, when it comes to it, this year you've got to be more decisive than ever when it comes to usering. If you're behind, you're not going to make up the speed. You're not going to be able to do what you have done in the past, where you cover the low and then high. You're really going to have to do your best of cutting it off early and then getting to the next read, knowing what your responsibility is. There isn't really like that thing where you can blitz the player and you have better agility. That doesn't exist this year, at least not in next gen. I'm not 100% sure in last gen, but yeah, as far as getting more out of your player, it's really trying to cut your angles to a little bit less sharp cuts so they don't have to plant their feet and go. Hopefully that answers that. Dan, I'll definitely answer your question a little bit later when we switch books, maybe a little bit later in the thing, but since I'm not in the Bucs Playbook right now as far as what I've got on the screen, it's a little bit harder for that specific question, asking for a cover 3, cover 4 bomb in Buck spread. Maybe we'll go to that when we don't have as many answers, okay? Let's see, a shred 6 strings. Hey, Ancap, just reviewing the game plan on empty Texan. I noticed that some of the cover 4 measures aren't comparable in current gen, where the concepts that we focus. Okay, yeah, I marked off what's not in current gen. I would suggest looking at last year's game plan. You still have access to that. All our all of our game plans in 22 and also all of our game plans in 21 as a subscriber. So you'll see some different things there as far as match. I did not really draw up anything specifically for last gen. If that continues to be something to where there's not enough, because there are match beaters in the playbook, just not all of them are going to be last gen. If that becomes, when you see the other two formations that we're going to be adding next week, if you continue to feel like there's not enough match beaters, then we can definitely look at specific last gen ones I can add. But I'm pretty confident that you're going to have enough. I think we had 27 videos. I think maybe 2 or 3 of them didn't work on last gen, and yes, a couple of them though those were match beaters, but we put several match beaters in there. So I'll keep an eye on it, and if it seems like we need something, I could definitely add it in there. But I didn't lab specifically last gen cover 4 palms quarters beaters for this game plan. So anybody who doesn't know about, we just dropped our newest game plan today. It's something that I designed. It's the empty tray stack is the formation that we brought out of the Houston Texans playbook. But the idea behind this is next week we're going to put the empty, I think it's called the Y Texan, and then the empty Y slot as 2 other formations that you can audible in and out of. To be honest, it's probably the most explosive I've ever been on offense. Usually once you get this offense down, I'm going to tell you you're going to pass for 80 to 90% on pretty much everyone, and throw 400, 500 yards, to be honest with you. I'm not even exaggerating. Once you get it down, the reads are pretty clear. Empty is one of those alignments that really mess with the defense when it comes to having a lot of space to cover, and people just don't understand what to do. When we give you the blueprint of beating every single coverage pretty easily, people just get lost. And definitely one of those games that I find that I wear down my opponent where they mentally give up. And as the game goes on, the touchdowns get easier. So if you guys are interested in having something fun, definitely check that out. Just dropped today. Let's see if there's any other questions here. Can you go over the tells and coverage based on your new game plan? I play someone who uses man alignment. Now, that's the thing, Papa. Busy Body is the one who asked that question. When you do man alignment and when you do base alignment, the reasons why you're doing those is to, for the most part, disguise the tells that are in. The thing with man alignment and base alignment, it really opens up the field even more. So it's a trade-off, right? The trade-off being you're not going to get the pre-snap reads, so you're really going to have to look at the post-snap reads, read the safeties. If one comes down, one goes to the middle, it's cover 3. If they both spread out really, really quickly, it's cover 2. If they kind of hold their position and slowly spread out, it's usually going to be a cover 4. If they tend to kind of take a step in and kind of just plant a little bit, normally that means that it's going to be matched because they're looking for the verticality of the routes before they go on people, right? So anybody that man aligns, anybody that base aligns, you're not going to have a blueprint that says this is what you're looking for the way it looks, because they're trying to disguise that. At that point, you're looking for tendencies and you're looking for the ability to basically look at the post snap reads, right? And when that happens for me, I'm going to run more of my base plays to where it beats all coverages, and now I'm just reading as I go until I say, you know what, they're typically running 75% cover 3. I'm going to dial up a cover 3 beater here. That type of game plan as far as that goes. But unfortunately, going over pre-snap reads when they man align and when they base align, it is not really going to be too beneficial because the disguise that they're looking to do. Yeah. Let's see here. So Dan's talking about he used the Gun Stack Y Flex game plan from last year and it worked so good. A lot of the stuff that you guys are going to see from last year are going to work just as good, and some will argue even better just because of the way that the game plays. If you're on last gen, it's going to play very, very similar, so they're going to work just as good. And if you're on next gen, because zones are a little bit more looser, they're going to work even better. So that's one of the benefits that we don't often talk about, is that we did, I don't know, 25 plus game plans last year, maybe up to 30. And those are all at your fingertips too. So it's basically, we build a library for you, right? We worked with pros last year. We worked with, ourselves, and I put a lot of different things out. So if you have a playbook that you like, and since the playbook's changed this year, maybe you say, you know what, I love this playbook and I'd love to have more information in it. Let me go to last year's stuff, go to last year's route combo Bible, and really be able to lean on some other things while we still build more content. So, you got the library to over, probably like 35 to 40 different, game plans at this point. If you're waiting for something, that's a good start. And then, obviously we try our best to be as diverse as possible when we bring things out. Let's see here. So what are your favorite man-beating plays in the new scheme? I assume that's what the dual route techs are for. Route techs are definitely helpful. I put route techs everywhere. Now, when it comes to, I'm just going to go toggle through, and just so you guys can see, and kind of look at what the new game plan is, right? So the new game plan is these three formations: empty tray stack, empty Y Texan, empty Y slot. Okay. Now, the reason why I like all three of them is because they're very, very complementary, right? Tray stack is probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite formation in the game. I put a big emphasis on having fun when I play Madden, and this is probably the most fun I'll have, just because I feel so dominant out there when it comes to making reads and having things just as open as possible, and knowing that I'm wearing people down. It's not, roll out corner, roll out corner, roll out corner, roll out delay fade. To me, that's not fun, right? It's effective, but it's not fun. This is a fun offense for me, to where I just feel in control the whole game. As far as man beatings, this fade out, if you look at the tight end, I put short in elite on him, and he gets a speed burst off of that. And a lot of times if they're playing any type of cover zero, it's an easy one play score. Curl switch, every single route except for the one on the left that's in red beats man coverage. So those are two very, very fun plays that I do out of empty tray stack. And those are probably the ones that I'm going to use the most. But when you look at these other ones, this is where you're going to start seeing next week when we release this, how much man beating concepts are in these. And that's why I like them, because if I feel like I'm getting man, I'm going to go ahead and start in tray stack and audible into this. The slant flood has a really nice tight end route that basically has a speed out on it. Very, very good. This underplay has the same crossing route as fade out, so that beats man as well. Then you're going to have a lot of deep ins. You're going to have a lot of deep outs. You're going to have this Y stick that has a nice post on it. And then you're going to see some other routes that are just really, really unique throughout the formation. And then same thing here. You got stick and nod. You got some of these double whips here. You've got the ability to have this speed ins and then this really tight post. So a lot of these routes that we haven't released yet are really good man beating concepts. But you saw we ran, it was over an hour worth of content, 27 videos. This game plan would have been over 50 videos, over 2.5 hours. So I felt it was best to get you guys to learn one formation first. And then knowing that maybe some of the pain points that you may have, like I don't have 10 different man beaters. You will have 10 different man beaters coming, next week. But just know that we wanted to give it installments so we didn't overwhelm you. So hopefully that answered your question when it came to, man. But yes, I definitely believe route text or short and elite is very, very beneficial in this offense, because for those that don't know, I didn't put any route tech at all. I mean, not route tech, any route apprentice in there. So it's all stock routes. So, I don't believe it's absolutely necessary, because, if you're playing MUT, I would say, yes, get the route techs. You need them. If you're playing regs, I think that you're going to have matchups that you're going to be able to, basically take advantage of. And that's why when I do my game plans, I'm really trying hard to make sure that it's a full game plan without any route apprentices, so everybody can use it. And then the route apprentices that you can use, whether it's slot app or outside app or tight end app, those are all things that you can add in to just enhance the scheme rather than rely on it. So hopefully you guys appreciate, that approach, because I want to make the schemes as, friendly to everybody that can use them. And it does take longer. It takes a lot more studying. It takes a lot more labbing to make sure that I don't just rely on the best routes in the game on a hot route stop. But hopefully that works out best for everybody. All right, let's see here. So Dan's asking, any plans to do a film room breakdown for empty game plan? 100%. The problem, Dan, I'm going to be very, very blunt with this. It's hard to get full games playing this. I almost have to take an approach to where I have to let up points a lot to keep people to play the whole game, because I get a lot of quits early in the game. So, I mean, over the last week, I filmed every single one of my games, and I have a handful of full games, and I wanted to make sure that, you know, when I play those guys that are like that and all they're running is man coverage, all they're running is cover 3, I want a little bit more of a opportunity to say, okay, this guy's mixing up his coverages. This is what I'm seeing. This is why I think it's going to be, you know, cover 4 show 2. This is why I think it's going to be, you know, Mike blitz throw. This is why I think it's going to be this. And then give you a plan of what you're looking for and why you're doing it, and really break it down that way, right? So that's really my thing, and kind of going that way. But yeah, for the most part, I kind of want to define the right film to teach rather than just somebody who stays in one. Maybe I'll do multiple and say, hey, you know, this is person that's primary running, you know, 3-3-5 wide. This person's primary running 2-4-5 odd. Let's do a couple different ones and talk over it. That might be helpful as well. I might go that route, but the idea is definitely to get you guys to film study on this as soon as possible, so that way you can, you know, at least get a grasp of, you know, not only the plays, but what you're looking for prior and how to scheme them together. All right, let's see here. Tom, be honest with you, empty is a lot of fun. This is the thing with our game plans, and I want to make sure that, you know, if you're comfortable in something and you love it, say the Chiefs playbook or one of the bunches, by all means, you're going to be able to use some of that stuff in the same playbooks that we go for further. So, like, yes, we didn't do a Texans double Y off, but if you look at it, the flood plays and double Y off in Chiefs, right? This double stop and goes is an amazing play, by the way. But you're going to see that you're going to have other options that come, you know, that you may be acquainted with. Doubles halfback weak is going to be very similar to what Matster taught or what I taught in Gunflex Y off. So you see the double post play. So there's going to be elements in each one of our playbooks that you're going to be able to use and go for it. Like gun deuce close, we talked about this formation when we did the Ghosts' red zone scheme, right? So a lot of our stuff is built upon, right? Like what you can see here is that you're going to learn a lot of empty concepts. You may not want to do the Houston empty, but at the end of the day, maybe you want to do an empty trio out of something else and say, hey, let me see if that concept works with you know, basically the playbook that I'm using, and how can I adapt it? So a lot of times I try to make people, you know, think that they don't have to be so focused on do this. Now, yes, gun empty trace stack is special. There's reasons why we pick the formations we do. You know, these 3 formations are special together, but if you're die hard on something that you love, every week you should be able to watch those and say, you know what if this works in this formation? You know, I took something from Master Gamer that he did for a cover 3 bomb, and I applied it to the empty Y Texan, and it works really, really well. Sometimes, you know, I learn from some of the stuff that, you know, the other pros are doing, and then I said, how can I apply this concept here and kind of build some stuff out, right? Obviously, I do a lot of labbing myself, but that's the best way to go about it, in my opinion. What defense are you using at the moment? I've been awful defensively, looking to learn a game plan. My offense gets points, but I give them up quick. To be honest with you, I'm still on 3-3-5 Sam. I'm an aggressive player, and I like the blitz. I'd probably be a better defensive player if I decided to mix it up more. But it really depends on what I'm playing, right? Like if I'm just playing head-to-head seasons, I'm just having fun out there. I'm labbing stuff. I'm going back and forth. When it's tournament time, I'm going to lock in and I'm going to, you know, play my best and make sure that I mix everything up. But 3-5 Sam is still the one that I use the most because it does put the quarterback on a timer, or at least make sure that they have to block a certain amount of people for their offense to work, which gives me the advantage. But I do use some of the stuff in the 2-4-5 double A gap that is also in the Lions, but also some stuff that Pick'em taught when he did the Arizona defense. So I do a little bit of mesh there. But for the most part, those are what I'm using now. But, you know, I'm always continuously looking to see what's next. You know, I lab with some people. You know, I know talking to Pick'em last night, he's got another defense that he's working on that he really likes. And he was showing me a little bit of it and why he uses it. And it is something that I was definitely looking to possibly adapt, and maybe we can talk about getting that on the site as well. But, you know, it's one of those deals to where it's ever changing. I think defense is very tough this year. I think it's something that there's no one defense cure-all type deal, because good players are going to be able to pick you apart if you do the same thing. So I just think it's more of a you got to call the right things at the right times and take away the first threats. And, you know, hopefully you do that long enough, they're going to make a mistake. That's kind of how offense is this year. You know, it's not as dominant as it's been in the years past. All right. Got it. So Dan, good. I know it's a statement, but I'll talk about it. The 3-3-5 wide pressure is unreal in current gen. I don't feel comfortable in empty versus it. Okay. Let's talk about that a little bit. All right. The reason why last year we did empty tray stack and any of those type of blitzes that where people came all at you, you didn't really have too much to be able to block it. This year you go to empty wide Texan. Let's just go ahead and talk about this, right? Now, I don't really have a problem against, you know, 3-3-5 wide as far as the blitzing, because I can make the reads really quickly. But sometimes people just aren't there yet because they just haven't had the time. It takes time to get there, and there's going to be some growing pains, right? Well, let's just do something like this to where we're in a formation like this. Now you have the ability to block 7. You're blocking the A, you're blocking the X, and now you've got the ability to put one of these guys on a delay fade. You can put both of them on a delay fade. You've got the ability to where if you're in, say, an empty tray stack, I don't have it all set up here, which I will, you can audible from one to the other. So if you guys haven't looked at my personnel video yet, what I do here is I take the empty tray stack and let me just go to it right here. And I take the package and I go to halfback stack. And then I take the halfback and I put him on the top player. So number 26 is our halfback. You can see that he's on the bottom. He's going to be on the top now. And then I just take the person that was on the top and I put him on the bottom. So that's what I do. And then, so if I'm in empty tray stack and say they're 3-3-5 wide, now I can go to empty wide Texan and basically go to a formation to where if I feel like they're going to blitz me, I've got the ability to now block 1, 2, delay fade one of them, but I've got the ability to now have easy protection. Okay, so that's why I love these formations together. Now, the other formation is going to be the empty wide slot, and I haven't talked about this yet, but this one can turn into a spread look by motioning this running back to the right. So if I run him to the right, he goes back to the backfield, and now I've got the ability to have his route from the backfield, and now I have the ability to block. Now, is this great against 3-3-5 wide? Not so much with a loop blitz because you don't have a tight end to block, but it definitely works against your 2-4-5 odds and just having somebody to help block with other things. So that's why both these formations together really do a great job when it comes to handling anything anybody can give you. Last year with empty tray stack, it was get the ball out of your hand, ... And if somehow you just weren't feeling it or you weren't getting your reads, then you get some pressure. This year, I really feel like you have the much better opportunity of combining all 3 of these empties and being that much more dominant. All right, let's see here. Yeah, Tom, definitely look into your empty, into KC, and see if you can apply some of the stuff. That's really just kind of one of those deals to where some people just, you get comfortable with something and it's good, and then we can apply concepts to help you with it. All right. So Papa Busybody is asking, is there a way to take the double tight end set and make it that way? I believe you could just go back into this once you've got it and just go into, I think you just go into number 11 here and you just put the tight end in. So if you want to have it to where there's a double tight end, now you unlock the ability to do these other formations, right? So like if you want to run this with 2 tight ends, a running back, and 2 wide receivers, now you're going to have the ability to go to wing flex weak, wing slot offset, gun deuce close, and then all your single back. So if you want to be able to use this as a empty to run scheme, you absolutely can do that as well. My suggestion, so that's why you have these 2 guys here. You're just not going to have the same ability to do what I was saying before with the empties. But again, you can do this, and then now you're going into, let's just say, this PA read play, which is one of the best plays in the game. And you do something like this, you have that ability. They switch spots. Now they really can't blitz you if you want to block, but you get the advantage of this B route that was taken out of all other wing slots. You still have that ability to throw it to him and get yourself, some good yards. So in this scheme, you definitely have that ability to still be able to do double tight if that's what you're looking for. Let's see here. As far as the questions go, it looks like we got a little bit more going back and forth in the Discord. So I don't see any actual questions yet. So I'm going to start looking at YouTube or Twitch to see if there's any questions there that I can use and kind of go from there. If you guys are in those and you are Huddle GG subscribers, make sure you come into Discord because you always get your answers much quicker and definitely guaranteed if you ask them in Discord. So I'm going to wait for some more questions to be kind of going up there. Make sure that if I didn't get your question, that you ask it in Discord so I don't skip you. Let's see here. So Bandman Clint asks, what defense does the new game plan struggle against the most? All right, good question. Obviously, you don't want to give the keys to stopping you, right? But I'm going to be 100% honest. You can't play cover 3 against this defense. You can't play match coverage against this defense. You can't play cover 2 against this defense. You can't play cover 0 against this defense. Your best bet is playing a hybrid. And what I mean by a hybrid is you're going to have to play, man coverage with extra players on the field to where they're covering different zones, and you're, only sending 3 people. You got 8-man coverage, and you got 5, man-to-man, and then you got 3 zones. So they're trying to take away your zones. Or if you're in something to where, they're playing some type of hybrid to where you're playing a match, but they're only, they're changing the zones and match. That's a different way. But this is the thing about the scheme is that what you want to do, and there's so much to it that what they do is going to close one thing but open up another, right? So I've been slowed down a little bit, but a lot of times it's just the perfect adjustments to the call that I'm doing, and then I do the next play and I have success, right? So there really isn't anything that I'm going to tell you right now that says, if you run this, I'm going to have some struggles, right? I think that it's all about what you're good at. Like, to me, if they can disguise what their initial defense is, that's going to help, right? Because now what you're doing is, instead of going ahead and making sure that you're reading it pre-snap, they're going to do post-snap, and just slows it down just a half a second. And that half a second could, be the difference between getting the ball off and not. But for the most part, there's really not any base defenses or base coverages. It doesn't matter if it's cover 6, cover 9, cover 6 invert, cover 4 palms, cover 4 match. All of them are easily beaten by what we show you in the game plan. And then, so I really don't have an answer of saying, if you just run this, you're really going to have to mix it up, disguise it, and do a hybrid coverage, to be honest with you. All right. Let's see here. So when making reads, Jason B asks, do you read the entire field or certain players on the field? Or do you look at the wide receivers? Now, pre-snap reads, I'm looking at certain players depending on what formation I'm in. Now, we break this down, but I'll give you an easy look at it first, right? So what I'm just going to do, I'm going to pick a play. I'll go with curl. Actually, I'm going to do a play that has levels, okay? I'll pick levels. I'll go to 3-3-5, and I'm going to basically, this is obviously the meta, but at the same time, you know, it's kind of one that is starting to be a little less meta because a lot of people are starting to get out of it. But this is the deal. Now, make sure that you guys are really, you know, kind of understanding this. They're going to throw everything at the kitchen sink when it comes to this empty playbook. And the reason why is because what they normally are trying to run, empty changes the way the alignment is on a lot of stuff. So their blitzes aren't going to work. They're not going to be as fast. They're trying to move their players in position. When they're in certain alignments, they're going to be spread out and they're going to notice that, hey, they're not covering the seam or they can't get to the sideline. All this in empty is a lot, you know, because we have basically in this formation, we've got a trips, but then we also have a stack. So you got a compressed on one side and spread on the other. It really messes with some things. So if they're in 2-4-5 odd right now and you're just torching them, next thing they're going to know, I'm going to go back to my 3-3-5 wide because it's something that I'm comfortable in. And if that's not the case, I'm going to go to, you know, double A gap, or they're going to try to find something. And as long as you have the answers, you're in good shape, right? And I believe we've given you all the answers and we'll continue when we give you the next two things. But so say Mike Blitz 3, right? Let me call that. You know, I'm just going to get on one hash just because we usually play on hashes. Let's be honest. Most of your balls are, most of your time, your tackles are going to end up on one hash or the other. Now, if you look at this, with this type of alignment, all I'm looking for, there's a couple reads, but the first thing I'm looking for is the outside corner on the right. He's at that 5 yard. So this is a cover 2 look. But since we're in 3-3-5 wide, they've got several different cover 2 looks. They've got cover 4 show 2, they've got Mike Blitz 3, and they've got your cover 2 sink, and they've got your cover 2 or your Tampa 2. So that's not going to tell you the whole story, but at least it starts with the story. Then I'm going to go to the next player. The next player is outside of my RB, okay? When somebody is outside of your RB, it's going to be, in this instance, it's going to be Mike Blitz 3. Okay. Now, another reason why it's Mike Blitz 3 is because these two linebackers right here, this guy and this guy, lined up correctly. Okay. What does that mean? When you go against cover 4, you're going to see that the guy that I'm on right now, Van Noy, he might move because I'm on him, but let me see. See how he starts over here at 4 yards, way over here? That's going to tell me it's cover 4, and this guy is not in place. He's not in the middle. Where in Mike Blitz 3, these guys are in the spots that they're supposed to be, right? So the only other coverage that in this is going to be Mike Blitz 0. They're in the same spots. But what you're going to see is that these guys are now over the top of those players, and they're no longer playing high safeties. They're playing man coverage from 10 yards alignment. So for me, when I'm going against this defense, I know what they're in when they're running the trio of Mike Blitz 0, Mike Blitz 3, cover 4 show 2. If they're doing any type of cover 2, you're going to see that this player right here is over the tackle. This player is over the tackle. I already know it's Tampa 2 because these guys are wider. So to answer your question, I'm looking at several different things pre-snap. And then I've talked about this before. Post-snap, I'm looking at the safeties. If I can't get a good grip on it to say maybe they are base aligning, you know, where all these guys are in spots, you know, you gotta love this. They're in spots where you can't tell, right? Right now, you cannot tell what coverage they're in just because they're all over the place, right? They base aligned. Now you have to look at the safeties to really understand what their movement is to get a good thing. Now, because this is a quick hitter and depending on what play, it sometimes doesn't matter what they're in. I know that I'm doing a 1-2 read with this player, that player, and I'm going to do it that way. So sometimes I have to simplify the game for myself and saying, my reads, I know my play. I'm either going to throw it to X or Y on this play. It doesn't matter what the coverage is. Those are my reads. And for some reason, the user jumps that side of the field. I know I've got another option. So sometimes if if I feel like I'm overthinking something, I just get into a habit of, you know what, I'm gonna say myself, this is what I'm gonna do no matter what, because I trust the offense that I put together and know that it's either this guy or this guy will be open unless they did some craziness or the user took it. And if the user gets out of the spot, then I know who I'm backfilling it with. So that's how I read my reads. It's just really getting comfortable with different defenses. If you're going against, say a 2-4-5 odd with cover 3 sky, I'm still in baseline. Let me get out of baseline, right? What you're going to see a lot of time is it's a single high safety. If I put the B on a streak, you can see he goes right through that guy. I know that this is going to be either cover 3 or cover 4, basically. And then you can see that the nickel corner is the outside of the RB. Now I know it's cover 3. So what you got to think of is cover 3. Those curl flats want to get to the outside. So they're going to line up to the outside. Match coverage, they're going to go into man coverage, so they want to start in the inside, right? So depending on where that guy is on the leverage of your player, so that's why I like calling these plays that have straight lines. I can see that the cornerback above the RB is to the outside. Because of that, I know that he's in a cover 4 or cover 4 drop or cover 3 because he wants to get to the outside. If this guy right here, I want to make sure that we talk about this, is to the inside, then a lot of times I'm going to know it's match because of the fact, well, most of the time with match, you're going to have a 2 high safety, so that's a different story. But with this, what you're going to notice is that if he's to the inside with you, it should show a lot of times that it's match because they want the inside leverage in case it becomes man coverage so that you don't beat him to the inside. At least that's the way the game's programmed. So let's see. I don't see a whole lot of Mabel coverage because you'll notice in this game plan, because it's so spread that if they tried to basically fan out their defense, which what basically double Mabel is, it's way too much room for a user to cover in the middle of the field. So it's just one of those deals that they may Mabel one side and concentrate on the other side. But even that with a user, because look at how far everybody is, they're going to have to cover almost numbers to numbers, and that's just not a good thing for them, especially with all the quick passes. I know I've been talking a lot about the newest game plan, and obviously this is what you guys want to ask questions on. I'm more than happy to answer. But if you have other questions, let me know. I just want to make sure that the Discord members get their questions answered 100%, and then obviously we'll move on from there. So Rockets asks, how do I feel about Vic with quarterback draw in this offense? That could get kind of scary. I mean, I know last year the quarterback draw glitched where you can, basically cut off the animation, and I was running this offense with it and it was so much fun. And to be honest with you, it was way overpowered. So I'm actually kind of happy that they got rid of that. But this quarterback, there's a couple of things that I want out of a quarterback. So I want to make sure that I kind of address that. I need to have a quick release and a strong arm. And I don't believe that has to be gunslinger this year. And I believe that does not have to be, set fit lead. The quicker releases this year actually are pretty good. So because of the way that you're throwing this ball, but the velocity in the gunslinger really kicks in when you're trying to throw outside the numbers from the hash. What I mean by that is, like, if we're in cover 2, let me show you here. I value a strong arm because if I'm trying to make this hole throw, right? If I'm trying to do something like this to where I'm throwing it in the hole here when it comes to this fade, if I do something like this, right? And I'm trying to hit this B, what you're going to see is that with a gunslinger, that's on a line, on a rope, right? With somebody else that doesn't have that, it's going to be a little bit more in the air, and that's going to help the safety come over. So I value that. So when it comes to Vic, I don't know what he's going to get ability-wise. I'm assuming that he's going to be better than Cam Newton, which is the same scrambler architect. So if he's got any type of boost on his ability to throw the ball, then he's going to be amazing in this offense, and that quarterback draw is just going to be another headache that people are going to have to worry about. If he doesn't, then I'm not sure that he's going to fit it as well, just because a strong arm quarterback is really, at least in MUT, is needed. Now, when it comes to regs, not everybody's the same 95 speed everywhere on the field, so you can kind of be a little bit okay with a lesser throw. But in regs, so to answer your question, yes, I think anytime you have a Michael Vick on the field as a threat, because trust me when I tell you, when they can't stop your pass, they're going to put more people in coverage. And you're going to see that only 3 people are going to rush the quarterback, and your ability to scramble in this, or at least step up in the pocket and run. I can run like literally 5-6 times a game, 10 yards a clip if I'm looking for it, just because they're all bailing out the fine stuff. They can't blitz you. They can't do this. They can't do that. You're able to do that. Vic would be very, very good in that role. So we'll see how he ends up being as far as how his release is, how his arm strength is, and does he get any pass, boosts, and then see what it is. But yes, he would be fun with the quarterback draw. I got 2 questions on the Bucs offense. Let me go ahead and get into that now. We talked a lot about this empty formation, which actually is in the Bucs offense as well, so I could definitely show it if anybody else has any more questions. But there's a couple of different people are asking about specifics on the Bucs in the Discord. I know Dan had a question about spread, and I think Hitch just had a question about the box formation, which I believe is the gun flip trips from last year. Looking for another good play. Let's see here. While I get that, I'll answer Griff's question. Griff, when it comes to red zone plays, I personally go to, I probably should have put it in there. I'll probably put it in there. When it comes to empty, if we want to stay in empty, I'm not usually in empty tray stack. I'll be in the other empties, and that'll come next week. Right now, I'm going to gun deuce close and the gun wing slot offset. And the reason for that is because they've got an RPO bubble, they've got RPO read flat, they've got the corners play, and if you look at the Ghost's game plan, we did some different things in gun deuce for the red zone, so you could definitely add that to it, gun deuce close. But for the most part, inside the 5, I'm going to those formations. And then there's some other stuff that I like to do in empty where I've shown in the past where you hit the seam against pretty much every coverage except for cover 4 drop. But it's not as good in empty tray stack. It's better in the other empties. So I'll be showing that to come on next week's update. What am I doing here? We're talking Bucs. And let's go here. All right. Okay. So that's basically, when we have game plans that take 2 weeks to do because they're so big, sometimes what you may see that might be missing today is coming next time. That's why I put them all together. I just didn't want to overwhelm everybody with so many plays. So let's start with Dan's. He's talking about gun spread. He's looking for a cover 3, cover 4 bomb at a gun spread. I guess the question is, Dan, are you on next gen? That's probably where I should start. Because if we're on current gen, then it's probably going to take a lot of time to get in and out. I probably won't be able to answer this question today, but maybe I could do it on the side for you. But if you're in next gen, we can at least talk about that to start. Let's see. Just waiting on an answer from him. See what we can do about continuing this. Just want to see. There's not a Bucs game plan, Mister. I basically go ahead and answer some questions. He's in the Bucs. We did a lot of Bucs last year, so if you want to look at some of those game plans, you can look at the Madden 21 game plans. That's on the bottom after you look at game plans. We just dropped a empty tray stack, which is also in the Bucs. But we dropped it out of the Texans, and I believe it has all the same plays. So we went over bench corner, curl switch, Z under, levels, fade out, jailbreak screen. It doesn't have one play, which is a short yardage play. But for the most part, you could probably get 80-90% of what you would, probably more than that. More than 90% of the offense will still be in this one. So you're not on next gen. Okay, so yeah, that's probably gonna be tough for me to sit here and get you any type of bomb plays, because that's the biggest thing about the generations. Two things that are different. Cover 3 bombs are really different from console to console, and then the way it plays match is different. So everything else pretty much will go the same way. Some routes are a little bit tighter on some of the gens, but for the most part, those are the two things that I've noticed are the toughest things to basically, correlate. So me going on next gen right now wouldn't make much whole lot of sense for that. So I want to make sure that Hitch, are you on next gen as well? Because I know you had a question about Bucs. We can definitely look into that and see what you're looking for. If you guys want to, cool, Dan. Yeah, that's what this office hours is all about. For those that don't know, we answer questions in the Discord, and Discord's amazing tool all week long, right? But sometimes there's specific questions that it just takes a lot of time, or a lot more, or at least a visual representation of how something will work. And we just say, hey, bring those questions to office hours, and we will guarantee you that we will answer your question on office hours because you're a subscriber to Huddle, right? It's kind of our one-on-one with you. And then we go ahead and we go into the other YouTube and Twitch if we don't have any questions in the Discord. But today it's been very, very quick. So Hitch right here, he likes this box formation in the Bucs Playbook, and he's on next gen, so we can look at this. And this is kind of a benefit where we haven't taught this formation, but he's kind of want to pick my mind and say what he can do. And I think the question that he had originally, let me go back up to it. Any recommendations on Bucs offense? I love the box formation, but I'm looking for another good play out of a different formation. Well, first off, Hitch, empty tray stack that we just put out is in the Bucs formation. So I'm going to tell you 100% look at that. Last week, John Beast, the gun halfback strong, the bunch halfback strong, we just put out, I think, 17 different videos on that. So, to have a offense that you can use those, that's going to be amazing for you as well. And that's a lot of the times where you look at it and say, yes, that's Carolina's playbook, but the formation's in here. So usually about 90% of the stuff that we're going to show you is going to be in there, right? So just for that reason, and that you can definitely look at that. But if is there a formation that you wanted me to look into something specific for you? Or is that something that you're just asking for something generic? Because usually with office hours, it's kind of like, hey, I like the box formation. I don't have a cover 3 bomb. I need something to beat, match coverage. Can you help me with that? If you're just asking me something generic in the Buccaneers, I'm going to tell you, go ahead, study the stuff we've already given you. Right, a halfback strong and the ability to do the tray stack. Now, last year, just as a benefit, we broke down the bunch halfback wide last year, and we also broke down the stack wide flex. So those are two other formations that you have access to that you're going to be able to look at in order to do it that way. I've done doubles in the past. I think 2 years ago was probably my favorite formation 2 years ago, but that's not actually on the website, but the other two are. While I get Hitched to kind of answer me back, Mr. Wook asked, after the patch, which game plane would be the best? I'm going to tell you that depending on your, I guess, goals or your style, if you're a passer, I'm going to tell you that empty is probably going to be the most explosive. If you're willing to take some lumps in the beginning, and I say lumps because it's empty, right? You're gonna miss some reads. You're gonna get sacked. Once you get down your reads, I'm going to tell you that you don't have to get worried about getting sacked again, because you're literally going to be able to, if they send pressure at you, you're going to be able to get the ball out of your hand quickly and hit the reads. And then next week when we have the ability to add upon it, I'm going to tell you that empty is going to be the most explosive. Now, as far as best, to me, if you look at Clef's bunch and John Beast's bunch and the bunch halfback strong, Ghost's tight slots weak, these are all tournament based offenses that are tried and true. And even if you know it's coming, it's really hard to stop, right? So it's about execution. So, but the thing about that is that a lot of people run them. So, they've got some reps against them. People don't have reps against empty. So it depends on your goals. If you want it, like to me, my first goal is to have fun, air it out, really make people, frustrate, and, have a scheme where I'm always one step ahead. Empty is a lot of fun for that. But as far as best goes, that's going to be basically a preference thing for you, because some people may not feel comfortable when there's no one blocking for them. But hopefully, if you watch the videos and get an understanding, you're going to see that we're going to kind of help you with that. All right, so Hitch is saying he wants to learn more of a dink and dunk and not the bomb all the time. That's kind of, I know I would love to be able to answer for you, but it's just more of a generic question, and it's going to be hard for me just to spend so much time when we don't have a whole lot on that, generic question. If you can, we have some more office hours coming up on Saturday, and then on Tuesday, and then me again on Thursday. Why don't you get a little bit more into your playbook, and if you find some stuff that you like and say, hey, I want to add on this, or I really need to find, this type of beater for this formation, come with me with that type of question, so that way I can help you specifically, because, my interpretation of dink and dunk out of a whole playbook may not help you. So come back with a little bit more, specific, and I would love to help you next time. Griff, I definitely hear you when it comes to people will have more reps against empty, but it's different, right? I'm going to tell you how I feel people do against empty compared to the bunch, right? I play against bunch. I know I'm probably going to face bunch 6-7 more times in a weekend league at the bare minimum, right? Oftentimes it can be half your games, right? So I know in my mind that I need to bear down during the game and get better at bunch, because it's not going anywhere. People are going to run it. When you have empty, you have mentally drained somebody and they give up. I want to make this very clear. They get to a point where I'm not going to face this again. I just want to get out of this game. I get a lot of quits because of that. And I also get a lot of people that you could see as the game goes on, things get more and more, open, because they've given up everything that they know from a traditional standpoint of what they've learned from either themselves or a different game plan or an ebook they got somewhere else. It's not working because we designed our plays to go against it, right? And so now they have to think out of the box to stop it. And they kind of say, you know what, with empty, I don't need to learn how to stop this. I'm not going to face it that often. That's their mindset. If they start seeing it a lot, then they're going to have to start learning how to do it. For the most part, that's why empty sneaks up on people. And the fact that you got 3 different formations when this is all said and done, they're not even going to know what to study. So that's basically it. What would you say the learning process is? What would you say that learning the pre-snap reads for empty is a key to success? I would say, Griff, 100% is a key to success when you're starting it, right? And then being able to minimize your focus on the 2 to 3 receivers that you're doing. Like once you get fade out is the main play of empty tray stack, right? There are certain reads that I'm taking my eyes to the same people each time, and knowing that I may thought it was cover 3, but because of the movement of the outside corner right away, I know that I can beat this guy against cover 2, cover 4 match. And basically, I may have got the read wrong because they maybe, one of the reads that always gets me, to be honest with you, is a cover 3 buzz. It lines up as cover 2. And it's not in every playbook it does that. So it's kind of one of those, like a nickel normal will have a cover 3 buzz match that lines up like cover 2. So I was looking for cover 2, but it ended up being cover 3. And you're going to have that ability to realize that my first read should have been the cover 2 because that's what I was setting up. But you have other reads on the play on cover 3. So making that distinct, change up in your mind. And if they get you one play, it's not the end of the world, because then you know that this is a read that you need to know, right? So that's basically how it is. I am in the Texans playbook. I didn't exactly drop the Chiefs playbook. I kind of want to explain what my philosophy is on dropping content personally, right? And also what we look for in pros. The game changes as the year progresses, whether it's patches, whether it's just the way that the metas change the way things work. And my goal is always to, Rockets as well with Huddle here, is let's give you the best offense we can at the current state of the game, right? I absolutely love certain things in Chiefs playbook that I never got to teach yet. But something that I liked in the beginning of the year, which was the Trey wide flex and the Trey wide flex strong, didn't become as viable when the 3-3-5 wide loop blitz came so big because you don't have a tight end attached to be able to block it, right? So, and then you just don't have enough quick snap options like you do in as far as routes to hit, like you do in empty. So what I had plans on wanting to really teach, because I love the formation, just wouldn't have been as good for the majority of people, because yes, all the stuff works, but I'm not able to block one of the most popular blitzes in the game effectively or without me taking away emotion. Then that it doesn't make sense to teach it right now. If that blitz gets patched, or if there's a way that, we discover that you could block that, then we'll go ahead and bring that to the table, right? And it's really just, kind of, there's a couple other formations as well that I like in Chiefs that I may visit a little bit later, So I'm not saying that I've moved away from it. It's not I'm in one and this is what I'm going to do. I just felt at the current state of the game that this was the right time to bring out empty, because I honestly feel that it's really, really good and so tough to stop. And maybe there will be a change, 2 months down the road that changes some of the stuff that we've done. But if I don't take the opportunity to do it now, then people are going to have that fun for those 2 months, running it. And, then if something changes, we go and we find another offense or another defense that will do it. Obviously we have a lot of pros that are on our website that we value their stuff, and, they take an approach to the game, very much, like I do as far as labbing and that. So whatever they're in, there's a good reason for it as well, right? So, getting their stuff usually means that they're currently running it, and that stuff is going to do well at the current time we put it out. So hopefully that makes sense to you. It's not like I dumped Chiefs and I'm never going to go back to it. There's a lot of chance. I know a lot of people like the Chiefs and like to build on it, but what you saw, what we did with the Carolina playbook, we had the gun bunch halfback strong, which is a Chiefs, formation. So there are stuff that, even as early as last week, was built for the Chiefs. And then, when we did the gun deuce, the deuce close out of the Ghost's playbook was also a red zone thing was in the Chiefs playbook. So we may not just do Chief stuff, but indirectly would have it. So hopefully that is it. I definitely answered this earlier, but I do like in the immediate red zone. There's a couple other plays that I like in the other empties that we'll see next week, but I do like the gun deuce close and the gun wing slot offset when it comes to inside the 5. I feel like there's a lot of different things with the read bubble, the RPO read flat, and then there's the corners play, and there's some stuff that we put in Ghost's playbook that's from the gun deuce close that if you look at that red zone scheme, does pretty good of translating to the Texans to hold you over until we get some other stuff from the other empties. No, it's no problem. I just want to make sure that I kind of reiterate that again. We only got a few more minutes. If you guys have any questions that, I can answer. This definitely was a little bit different of a office hours, as you can see that a lot of people were really excited about, today's game plan and really wanted some more distinct answers. And obviously those that are watching this from YouTube standpoint, I'd love to be able to answer your questions as well, but hopefully you get a good understanding of what we're running, as far as and why it's powerful and why it's so much fun to run, shameless plug, but if you guys are interested, every game plan from this year and all the access to last year, like I said, $9.95 a month basically gets you that. So I'm sorry I wasn't able to get to any of your questions when it comes to YouTube or Twitch, but at the same time, you can see that people are pretty excited about this one and want to know more about it. So was kind of a little bit more questions than normal and more direct towards that this time. But yeah. So H Coke 1234 asks, what do you think is the best defense to learn right now? I would say if you look at the combination of 3-3-5 wide, there's a reason why that was so meta for so long, is because it does get pressure to the quarterback. It does give you an opportunity to do quick adjustments, to be able to cover most first reads, and it semi does a pretty good job against bunch. But the problem with anything meta, a lot of people get good reps on it, so you're gonna have to make sure that you're mixing things up. I really like what Pick'em did in the 2-4-5 odd. It's a little bit different than the current meta, and we may expand on that 2-4-5 odd here soon with a little bit more stuff, depending on our ideas on content. But I think those are a good start. So if you go to the Bucs Playbook, they have both of those. They also have the 3-3-5 will, which is a really good formation. That's going to be kind of the version of a nickel, which has a lot of match coverages and whatnot. So I think any defense that you have the ability to get to the quarterback and then make them blitz extra, and then have the ability to go ahead and put more people into coverage, you're going to have the most success with. I think that's probably your best bet, to be honest with you. It's going to be anytime I'm facing somebody that I know that, okay, I can block the splits, but I'm going to have to keep my tight end in, or I've got to keep my running back in, that's less of what I can do on offense. And I think that's where you want to develop, and all of our game plans have that. It's just a matter of what you're most comfortable in. I'm in 3-3-5 Sam, and I didn't even tell you to look at that. And it's not because it's not great. It depends on what your preference is. 3-3-5 Sam is pretty much a defense in which you're going to come pretty high powered, and you're going to get to the quarterback, but you're going to be aggressive all game. If you're a good offensive player that is cool with, being aggressive, getting a stop here and there, and letting your offense, score, the majority of the time, 90% of the time, then you're going to win a lot of games. But if you're more of a defensive player and need to slow it down, you might not want to be an aggressive defensive player, right? So it all depends on what you're looking for. All right, let's see here. Yep, for all you guys that may have joined late, I might as well, tell this to everybody. We do archive these. Basically they go onto our YouTube channel. Allows us to, definitely give you the opportunity to review anything, see and benefit from all the questions asked. But that's pretty much, what we do. I know we did probably a little bit less, gameplay right now, but hopefully you guys at least understand some of this stuff. A lot of people were real excited about the gameplay, like I said, and wanted those questions. But I'm here every single Thursday. 3:00 is the time that we go live. The next one's going to be Bucs is on Saturday at 11. And then you also have Banks, who does it on Tuesday nights. So we try to give you one weekend day, one afternoon during the week on the Thursday with me, and then Banks does it at night on a weekday. So that way, hopefully, we hit the majority of people that are looking for this, and we kind of go from there. But appreciate you guys. Hoke, I just saw that you're saying that. If you want to be aggressive, check out the 3-3-5 Sam. You can use the 3-3-5 wide in the Lions playbook as well. So you can definitely look at that. That would be my suggestion. So kind of go that route. But I appreciate you guys. Definitely get those questions, throughout the week, and we'll do our best to answer them, as we go. And we'll catch you on the next one.